George Takei was born to Emily and Norman Takei on April 20th, 1937, in Boyle Heights, Los Angeles. At the age of 5, he was admitted into a Japanese internment camp due to President Roosevelt's Executive Order 9066 after the attack on Pearl Harbor during World War II. He stayed in the camp for 3 years. Over the span of his lifetime, George Takei has supported equal rights, whether that means being the first Japanese-American man to have a main role in a television program or being a gay rights activist. Through this documentary, we will tell his story and show his impact on society.
On December 2nd of 1941, 2 months after the attack on Pearl Harbor, Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Executive Order 9066, and all Japanese Americans were sent into internment camps. Most of the Japanese American people had to sell their homes, businesses, and whatever else they could. When they had to sell their homes in a hurry, the overall real estate value significantly dropped.
During the construction of the Japanese internment camps, some families had to live temporarily in horse stables at local racetracks. 2/3 of the Japanese population were actually born in America. Even if they were a veteran of the First World War, they were forced to leave their homes to the camps. The adults could work for a salary of $5 per day out of the 120,000 Japanese American citizens that were taken from their homes. On September 4th, 1945, Public Proclamation Number 24 was issued, revoking all orders discriminating against Japanese American people, including Executive Order 9066. It became frequent for George to line up 3 times a day to eat poorer meals in crowded mess halls, as well as to bathe in a mass shower with his father. In his TED Talk, Why I Love the Country That Betrayed Me, George talked about how he remembered a searchlight that followed him when he went to the bathrooms during the night, but at the time, he thought it was nice how they lit the way for him to pee. In this next section, we will show a clip from our TED Talk explaining some of this.
I'm a veteran of the Starship Enterprise. I soared through the galaxy, driving a huge starship with a crew made up of people from all over this world. Many different races, many different cultures, many different heritages, all working together. And our mission was to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before. Well, I am the grandson of immigrants from Japan who went to America, boldly going to a strange new world, seeking new opportunities. My mother was born in Sacramento, California. My father was a San Franciscan. They met and married in Los Angeles, and I was born there. I was 4 years old when Pearl Harbor was bombed on December 7th, 1941 by Japan. And overnight, the world was plunged into a world war. America suddenly was swept up by hysteria. Japanese Americans, American citizens of Japanese ancestry, were looked on with suspicion and fear and with outright hatred, simply because we happened to look like the people that bombed Pearl Harbor. And the hysteria grew and grew until on February 1942, the President of the United States, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, ordered all Japanese Americans on the west coast of America to be summarily rounded up with no charges, with no trial, with no due process. Due process is the core pillar of our justice system. That all disappeared. We were to be rounded up and imprisoned in 10 barbed wire prison camps in some of the most desolate places in America.
George Takei, later in his early life, enrolled in the University of California and majored in architecture. After being in small roles he found around, Takei decided to focus on acting. Then he proceeded to transfer to the University of Los Angeles. He earned a bachelor's and a master's degree in theater. In 1966, Takei became one of the first Asian Americans to be prominently featured in a television program. He appeared as Lieutenant Sulu on the Star Trek series. The series was canceled in 1969, so Takei moved on to different roles. This officially kicked off his career. Many roles followed, including Mulan and Mulan 2, 1998 to 2004, Star Trek, the motion picture, 1978, and Bugbuster in 1998, and many more. Takei also appears frequently on many television shows, one of which was The Simpsons. George Takei did more than make movies. He was also a political activist. During Bill Clinton's run as president, Takei got onto the board of the Japanese-United States Friendship Commission and has continued since then to advocate for Japanese American rights and gay rights. During the 1980s, George Takei participated in many LGBTQ activist groups. One such group was the Los Angeles Running Club, where he met his husband to date. Takei later, in 2004, announced he was homosexual. He married his partner Brad Altman soon after. In more recent years, Takei has been known to post on social media. Due to the release of more movies sporting his name and his connection to social media, George Takei has managed to stay in the public eye.